saying what the details are. Is that just an excuse for Germany maybe to not support the SWIFT measures?
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Schönen Dank für.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
So certainly the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is pretty unified on, it may not be unanimous, was our support for sanctions against Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And that I think many of us were very disappointed that those sanctions were not fully implemented and the construction continued. I can't think of a more powerful way to punish Russian aggression than by rolling back what progress has been made and, if at all possible, prevent the Nord Stream 2 from ever being completed. Is that something that is being discussed with allies? Is that something that's being contemplated?
Absolutely. And as you recall from the July U.S.-German statement, that was very much in that statement that any moves, Russian aggression against Ukraine, would have a direct impact on the pipeline, and that is our expectation and the conversation that we're having.
So again, direct impact is one thing, but I'm literally talking about rolling back the pipeline. And you can loosely define that, but I mean taking action that will prevent it from ever becoming operational.
I think if President Putin moves on Ukraine, our expectation is that the pipeline will be suspended.
Well, I certainly hope that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee would take up legislation to go beyond just suspending it, but from ending it permanently. But anyway, thank you, Undersecretary Nuland.
Hello, this is Chris Israel. Thank you for listening to this commentary. You know, I really don't consider myself to be a very intelligent person. I probably have an average IQ at best. Maybe slightly above average on a good day, but definitely just average. And I'm just some poor black guy who lived in Washington State his whole life. But you know, for some reason, it's just odd seeing the masters and the politicians and the bureaucrats in Washington make mistake after mistake concerning geopolitical matters. And it seems to me that it should be obvious that the path of diplomacy should be the path to pursue. And I don't know, it's just like, how can it be that everyone can see, or just a common man, just somebody who's just an average working Joe, all I do is wash dishes, I can see the right thing to do, yet somehow the people who are in power have no idea, or they do know what the right thing to do is, but they choose to do the wrong thing, and that makes it like 1,000 times worse. So the boys at the CIA are at it again. This time their latest operation included blowing up 2 gas pipelines just off the coast of Germany. Now, I know everyone has an opinion about Russia, whether you like Russians or you don't. It's pretty much irrelevant to the actual geopolitical reality of what's going to happen. And the situation is just that Europe has no replacement for Russian gas. And Europe basically gets 80% of its gas from Russia. And it seems now the Saudis, they decided, well, we're gonna cut production by 20 million barrels. What is that going to do to the price of gas? So they're basically saying to Europe, fuck you. You're not getting it from us, motherfuckers. So, I mean, basically, what? Europeans are gonna freeze and starve for what? The agenda of the puppet masters in Washington? Oh, damn. That sucks. And in my mind, that really just goes to show you that imperialists, dude, they don't care about their allies. They don't care about civilians or people. Look what happened, like, at the drop of a hat. The same thing that they'll do to civilians in the Middle East, sanction them, freeze them, take away their natural resources. Besides literally bomb Europe. Like, how is this any different than maybe sanctioning Europe? They're supposed to put sanctions on Russia. They've basically just sanctioned themselves. So, what? All this suffering just for, not even for a few people to get rich, I guess, but I don't see how anyone's going to make money from this, because in reality there's no way that they're going to come up with another gas source or any other supply. So this isn't even really about money at this point. This is just about like some sort of arbitrary political agenda. Just don't align with the East at any cost. Like, don't get anything from Russia, even at the cost of the lives of civilians, like families, women, and children. Like, this is literally just an ideological driven agenda. It has nothing to do with the actual what's right or what's going to be good for people or even ourselves as a country, because it's not like this isn't going to blow back on America. Like, yeah, sure, the gas prices, they start rising and it's unaffordable in Europe now, but the thing is, Europe is only one half of the Western economy, and then America is the other half. So it's like prices go up there, they go up here, etc., etc. So this is really just a self-inflicted wound. Like, this really to me is like honestly a psychological like deep dive into the mindset of a psychopath who controls the lives of millions of people. It's like, it doesn't matter if people have to die as long as we don't have to admit that we were wrong. That's pretty much what this is. Why can't you just say, yeah, it was a bad idea to sanction Russia? Like, no, because if you say that, then that means you were wrong, and this is about ideology, and we're right because we're Anglos and we're American. And listen, I don't really support the war in Ukraine. Like, I wish that wasn't happening. But I mean, it's not like the Western powers haven't started wars themselves and killed millions of people. So it's kind of like no one here has any moral high ground. We're just pointing the finger at each other, calling each other killers. Like, it's okay. How are we going to actually solve anything, though, diplomatically? Oh, we're not? Okay, well, I guess it's economic collapse. And I get it. I hate being wrong, too. Sometimes admitting you're wrong is one of the hardest things that you ever have to do. It's kind of like when I found out that the Torah of the Jews was right, and then I was living as a heretic my whole life. I was like, wait a minute, are you kidding me? The God of Israel is really the one true God? Well, it's like, if the evidence is right in front of you, then you have to accept it. It's like you have to admit when you're wrong and become a better person. But no, I guess when you're just a power-hungry bureaucrat, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. All that matters is the political agenda and ideologically driven policies that really have no benefit to mankind or society whatsoever. I don't know how all this is going to play out. I mean, I kind of have a feeling how it's going to play out. Prices are going to go up to the point to where there's going to be riots in Europe, and then the politicians are going to be forced to make concessions with Russia, and they're going to try to fix the pipeline, but they're not going to get it fixed in time. There's going to be unnecessary suffering. prices are going to come up here in America, and then there's going to be blowback on the political apparatus in Washington because they finally miscalculated and stabbed their ally in the back. This is kind of like, I don't know, like the fall of Rome or some shit where like everybody's just betraying each other or something. You know, Europe is America's biggest ally and has been since World War II. And, you know, it's kind of like for you to just take away their political options, you know, destroy their living conditions and sacrifice the lives of their people and their economy just for some arbitrary political agenda. It's got to be pretty fucked up, and I'm surprised that Washington actually went that far, but at the same time I'm not surprised because it's Washington, so you know how they are. But yeah, man, what a time to be alive. You're literally watching the collapse of a modern empire. You got like people just betraying each other on the political stage, just civilians on the brink of basically economic collapse, like the entire Western central banking system about to fall down, the biggest basically economic crisis since basically the Great Depression. Yeah, but you know, God bless everyone, and thanks for listening, and have a good day, guys. Take care of yourselves. Baruch Adonai Elohim El Shaddai.